Hey, Kathy. What, did you try and watch it live? Or did you come in right at the end? Because a lot of times what I do is as soon as the live stream's over, I make it go private for a little while until YouTube renders it, and then it goes live again. So you should be able to watch it on playback. Already got cat fur all over the place here. Yeah, see, that's probably it. If you came in right at the end, then immediately when I stopped broadcasting, I moved the video to private. So if you came in right at the end, you might have seen that it was there and then tried to click on it. By the time you clicked on it, it had gone private. But yes, it's available for playback now. That's the downside of coming in right at the end. You might miss it. One of the things I've noticed about some of the comments is that people will be talking about something that we were talking about, or you will start commenting on something that we were talking like 2, 3, 4 minutes ago. And that just says to me that, oh, wow, they're several minutes behind the live. Because I suspect what happens is if you have a commercial that cuts away, it doesn't, I don't, it doesn't chop off the part of the broadcast where I was and jump over that. What it ends up doing is it pauses it, and then so when you come back, whatever the length of the ad is, you're that far behind. And you get enough ads, I suppose, that could push you several minutes behind. Yeah, but even if it is a different time zone, that's that shouldn't that's not gonna change that. It'll just be different hours that I'm on. It is a trip thinking that I'm like talking to people all over the world though. What do you think? You're being pet. People are seeing you be pet by people all over the world here. What do you think of that? It isn't just you and me. It's you and me and them. And one of them is in London watching you get pet. So, show a little respect for your audience here, huh? And she thinks you're lovely. I freeze my water ahead of time so it's cold when I get it. Sometimes it takes a little while for it to melt enough that I can get something to drink, though. He keeps crouching down further and further, getting off camera. I heard they put up a big ransom Bitcoin ransom thing for like what 5 million Bitcoin or something like that. I assume you're talking about what Savannah Guthrie's mom. Hey, hey, Gene. Yeah, yeah, I heard that too, Kathy. Yeah, well, I like that place so much, and I kind of wanted to show everyone else, what it is that I like so much. It was funny. First off, Kara didn't seem to be that interested in being on camera, and she asked, when I talked about doing it, well, am I gonna, can I stay off camera? And so I was hoping to interview you and talk to you about the store, but it didn't take much arm twisting. She did it pretty quickly. Well, I think it's encouraging that they're asking ransom because I mean, yeah, there are some people who will, kidnap somebody, ask for ransom, but they've already murdered the person. But generally, the goal is to keep the person alive in the hopes of getting the ransom. So, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, a lot of the stuff she has, I mean, a lot of times it's a lot of the same things, and a lot of things are, just little pieces that, that's kind of the fun thing too. Is there's stuff there for everybody. It isn't just big, massive pieces that, cost hundreds of dollars. There's stuff for, just, kids too. There's like a whole section of just like little polished, this, that, and other thing. They're like $2 or $3 a piece, or sometimes even less. Yeah, that's my Johnny Cash shirt. Live at Folsom. Actually, got it from Folsom Prison because my sister lives in Folsom. So I visited a couple times. I vlogged it once, and I got the shirt the other time, and a couple other Folsom related shirts. Yeah, there's the man himself. Weather can't seem to make up its mind. Last week it was we had the ice storm and it was frozen. That's all melted now, and today it's going to be near 80. So it's actually kind of a warm day today. I could live with a lot of rain. I like it when it rains, but more so when I don't have to be out in it. You know, it's nice to just sit at home and sit out on the patio and listen to it fall. I don't know. It might get old if it happened all the time, though. Hello, Breck. How you doing? What's it like in Florida? I heard it's been cold there. All the iguanas are falling out of the tree. Yeah, me too. I love the sound too. I love a good electrical storm too, lightning and thunder, and that's always great. And we get that here. We get some really wild weather here, so that's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what I heard. It was really cold. That's all right. It's your turn. Well, like I said, I hope I hope she isn't dead. I hope they get her back. You know, that's it's an old woman. She doesn't deserve any of that. Yeah, I hope it doesn't come to that. Hey, Susan. I think the biggest concern too is her health isn't that good, and so that that's an issue too. If they don't have the means to, give her whatever medication she may need, who knows? As a boy, I was more Hardy Boys than Nancy Drew. My sister was into Nancy Drew, but not I. Hello, Yvonne. I didn't know there was a new Elvis movie. I didn't see the old Elvis movie, so wow. See, that's probably something more that Jordan would be into. Jordan's such an Elvis fan. Me, not so much. Probably is, Kathy. I'm sure he will because I think he did a review of the other one. Wasn't there another Elvis movie a few years ago? I just don't know why it is these days that they can't make a good documentary about a rock band. Because I mean, I can't think of any recently that have come out that I thought were good or that I've heard were good. You know, the Elvis one I heard was bad. The one about Queen was horrible. They just they can't do a good documentary. I think there was one about Elton John too that wasn't very good. Your fans want to see you, buddy. Yeah, well, I mean, I learned some things about Kara too, because I'd never really sat down and asked how it was she got into her. She got into rocks and minerals the same way I did, and about the same time, because I think I was about 5 when I first started noticing rocks and minerals and stuff like that, picking stuff up. And then, when I got my first job, there was a store called Natural Wonders in the local mall, and I picked up a couple of my first, minerals there. And I mean, stuff I've got, in my collection, I've had for, 40 years in some cases. So it's fun. It's funny she kind of got into it the same way I did. Hey, I started watching a movie last night called What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Anybody ever see that? Am I messing with you? Keeping it just out of reach? Oh, you got it. Grave Visitations. Hello, Grave Visitations. Welcome from Ireland. Really is an international thing. We got Kathy from London and Grave Visitations from Ireland. That's right, people. We're international. Ugh, sorry, Bite. Your fur is killing me here. Well, and that was sort of what triggered the whole thing about whether she'd do the mail order stuff. He says she's absolutely willing to do that, and if you want to, um, you know, just you'll set up some sort of a video conference, and she'll show you what she has, and so that's a good option there. Yeah, a lot of people here. That's how they got into me grave. I think I got it that time. There's like a had a piece of cat fur in my mouth. I don't know. Did I? I thought I posted it. Let me go check. Sometimes I do forget to do it, so it's possible it didn't get made live. Wouldn't be the first time. I'm an old person here. I forget things. Oh, you're right. It isn't. It isn't posted. Okay. Well, I'll fix that afterwards. Yeah, you gotta sometimes rattle my cage on that. It is there. I will make it go live after the live stream here. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I got this actually at Folsom Prison. There's a Johnny Cash museum there, and they sold all sorts of great stuff like that. Yeah, that's like the second prison that I've been to that just got a gift shop. That's a good question, Grave. It's funny. I got an artist conception drawing of what they're looking at the thing looking like. I'm not happy with it yet, so I'm going to go down there and talk to them tomorrow and get it straightened out. But I like the fact that they're way on board with this thing. They seem to be excited about doing it. So we'll get there. I think it's going to look great. Yeah, Kathy goes back years. She's been with us for a long time. A lot of the people you see here have been come back week after week. Appreciate that. Oh, but it's not cold here anymore, Susan. It's nice and warm today. We're going to be almost 80, I think. I think they said 81 was the possibility. Yes, I am. Yeah, I've been kind of doing the whole end of life stuff recently, and since I like rocks and minerals and stuff, I decided I wanted one that looked like a quartz crystal. And so I went to a grave marker place, and they're helping me design it. It's gonna be awesome. I wish I could get a real piece of quartz, but the cemetery won't allow that. Cemetery has all sorts of weird rules. Yeah, check out my. I have a playlist called "Merging with the Infinite" that does all of the grave stuff. Because one of them was me picking my cemetery plot, and I have that done. In fact, I received the deed for it last week. Um, we've moved forward now for doing the gravestone thing. The headstone. It's going to be really cool. And there was a video I did where I actually made kind of a life size model of it of the gravestone out of cardboard and a hot glue gun just to see how big the thing would look. Thank you, Grave. I always appreciate new subscribers. Yeah, check them out. I'll leave that up to the mortuary to make sure I'm lying down. I think that'll come naturally, Gene. You're just gonna sit there and stare at us? Huh? Is that how that works? Just standing there staring at us. So you're on camera again, buddy. Like it or not. Shotgun mode. Just in case you wondered if you could move or not. You can run when there's food involved. Moves like that used to coax Nibble out of the room too sometimes. All right, well, whatever. You've seen one cat eat. If you've seen one cat eat, you've seen a million cats eat, right? Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to, Gene. I think it's going to look great. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, when I heard he died suddenly, I that was my first thought was it was a heart attack or something like that. Did Matt's camera just fall over? It did. That's funny. And he included it on the video. That's even funnier. No, it's going to be what they call Indian granite. So it's black Indian granite. It'll be jet black. Like I said, I wish I could have found like a piece of quartz that size. Yeah, because that would be awesome. Although it'd probably be the subject of theft too. So, hey Jeff. Well, like I said, there was two companies I went to when I was looking at these headstones, and I'm really glad that we ended up going with. I ended up going with this one because they were really excited about the marker from the very beginning when I first described it to them, and they said, "Oh yeah, I know somebody who can do this." And we were talking about what we want to do. The other place they seemed a little afraid of it, and so I was glad that this place came up with a significantly better price, and the guy who did the quote, you know, did the quote for this 48-inch thing, which is so I'm ending up with a marker that's much larger than I had imagined it being. So it's going to look cool. Nibble passed away about a year ago. She just suddenly started going downhill, and in the matter of a couple weeks, she was gone. We didn't take her to the vet because one, she didn't appear to be in pain, and two, I know she hates the vet and she doesn't like being away from her brother. So she passed peacefully in her bedroom, and yeah, I'm sorry that she's gone. I miss her. She was a sweet little kitty. Maybe that's just me. I'm doing that, and I am just sitting here like this. Yeah, she was my sweetie. She was never very affectionate, but she was a cute cat. I used to always call her Bites Cat. Yeah, she didn't make very many appearances, but she did show up from time to time. And she became a little bit more affectionate in her last year or so. Never forgotten. I got a photo of her in Bite's room. Well, I think it's funny. I think a little of her spirit ended up in Bite because before when Nibble was alive, Nibble was always the one that if I left the door open, she'd walk out into the backyard and look around, and sometimes Bite would follow her, but Bite never led. And ever since Nibble passed, if I leave the door open, Bite will come out. Yeah, I heard about the singer Three Doors Down. That's sad. Yeah, yeah. Bite and Nibble hijacked the live streams a couple times, didn't they? I've never really looked that much into cryptocurrency, so I don't really know that much about it. Yeah, he died a couple days ago, I think. Yesterday or the day before. Yeah, you're the me of tractors, definitely, Jeff. It's a fun hobby, though, I bet. It's not one that a lot of people have either. I've seen what you've done. You've done some beautiful things with them. First part of having a problem is admitting that you have a problem, Jeff. So that's good. Those local greasy spoons are the best. Have a good lunch, Jeff. Well, you got to look at this from the kidnapper's standpoint. They didn't expect that this would turn into as big of an issue as it did. I'm sure they're having to completely reevaluate their plans right now because they didn't expect the president of the United States to weigh in on this. So all of a sudden now, this is like a national event. The whole world is watching this. Yeah, it's entirely possible, Yvonne. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that place is great, Brad. There's a few great burger joints in town. It took me so long to go visit the health camp, but that place is great. That's a great, just a little burger place. It's been here forever. That's part of Waco history right there. It's just a little tiny place. It probably has no more than 6 tables in there. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll wait. I mean, we're anything beyond what's going on right now is just kind of speculation. I guess we'll find out eventually, maybe, hopefully. But like I said, the president invoking the issue and putting the federal government resources behind it, um, you know, that's that's got to have up the whole thing for them. And unfortunately, it is possible they said, okay, that's done. We're done with this. Let's get rid of the evidence and pretend it never happened. And that's possible that they would just eliminate her. I did some work on the cabinets last weekend, but it's gonna take a few weeks to finish it. I want to get some more done this week, so it's coming along really nice. I did three more of the doors outside, and I did a bunch of the cabinets themselves, not just the doors. I decided to do inside and outside, so it's going to look really nice. It's all going to be white in there, and the ones I've done so far look really great. I got some new shelf liner paper I'm going to put in there, and that'll look nice. So it already brightens up the kitchen a lot. So I'm happy with it. I'm glad I finally did it, and like I said, it'll take a while to finish because there's a lot of it. I think it's just it's a cleaner look. Yeah, I guess we'll find out at some point what happened, and we'll all know the details. Right now it's all just speculation, so I choose not to speculate on speculation. Well, a lot of times I think criminals use Bitcoin because it's so hard to trace. Yeah, unfortunately, there's some sick a-holes out there. Well, I know the IRS always already requires you to declare Bitcoin transactions. Having never done anything, and I don't know if it's untraceable how the IRS would be able to trace it, but who knows? They probably have a way. No, I didn't hear about the observatory, the Chilean observatory. I hope at some point they'll rebuild Arecibo. That was a big loss. Yeah, I decided to go inside and outside the cabinets. I wasn't sure which I was going to do, but if I did only the outside of them, then it just seemed like it was going to take such a long time to mask it up and all that. And I just said, it just makes more sense to do inside and outside. Then we start with it with something clean. Yeah, I'm very happy with the new color. I just chose a white spray paint that was just a semi gloss, and it looks really nice. Like I said, I want to get more done this weekend, and this is my long weekend, so hopefully we'll get a lot done. It's funny. I used my right hand for the spray paint, and since I was kind of inside the cabinet while I was spray painting in there, my arm came out. It was all white. It took like 3 days for the paint to come off. And the new color is definitely a step above the old thing. It looks really nice. It looked a lot better than I thought it would. Well, I just it didn't match the look that I had for the house. I know what they were attempting to do. They were trying to make it look old and rustic, but that's that's not my style. I like it more clean and modern look. And white I just think looks really nice in a kitchen. Or I had oak cabinets in the house in California. Those were nice too. I don't know. Is there actually a Bitcoin operation? Because it's all just digital, right? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Gene. That's going to be awesome. We've needed to go back to the moon for a long time, right? Even Bite agrees. We have to go back to the moon, don't we? Yeah, it'd be great to get some really great, stunning footage of the backside of the moon because most of us don't ever get to see the backside of the moon. So it'd be really great to get some like good 4K video. At the time will be noon o'clock. Actually, it looks like the clock's a little fast according to my clock on my computer here, but oh, that's interesting. The clock and the cell phone have different times. That's weird. That shouldn't happen. Well, I mean, the work schedule hasn't really been that different. I mean, we had a couple days that the plant was closed because the snow that we had here, which really wasn't snow, it was just the ice from an ice storm. So it's a 3 gigapixel, huh? I'll be impressed when they put it in my cell phone. Yeah, your camera is a 3 gigapixel. No, not a 3 gigapixel, a 3.2 gigapixel. Woo, that's a lot of pixels. I bet you those files are massive too. Must be pretty expensive, or there'd be a lot of them. It's definitely going to be warm here today. I think we're going to be in the 80s. All right, so all we got to do now is worry about asteroids coming in from the north. Now, not watching the Olympics, not watching the Super Bowl, not interested in either. And I've never heard of Bad Bunny. So I'm not interested in that at all. 43, that's like a heat wave. Oh, so you finally warmed up a little bit there, huh? I heard it was cold recently. But then again, it was cold here recently too. And now it's warmed up again. Turning Point USA is doing their Super Bowl show too. But I mean, I've never really been that interested in the Super Bowl to begin with. I don't even know who's playing. That shows how in tune I am with that. Haven't seen any other games this season, so Well, I mean, with the internet, you can find anything anywhere now. Yeah, I'm not really interested in either, Kathy. So you're not alone. I was just thinking the same thing, Yvonne. It'd be a good time to go to Home Depot. There'll be nobody there today. I used to go to the movies on Super Bowl Sunday because there's nobody there either. I have a theater all to myself. Actually, for how warm it is, it's supposed to be today. It's overcast. I knew there was a reason I like Hugh Hefner. He only likes good bunnies. Yeah, right. Like I said, I've never even heard of the guy. All of a sudden, he's been all the news because he's going to be on the Super Bowl. Yeah, this is true, Yvonne. Everything you need to know. That's why we like you, Yvonne. Right? Like Yvonne. Oh, meatloaf sandwich sounds good. Kind of hard to go wrong with that, huh? What do you think, Bite? Meatloaf sandwich sound good? I want to finish up the cabinets. Definitely going to be doing that this week. Probably won't vlog that, but we'll figure out, a few things to do. Hopefully, I like to try and do a couple vlogs if I can on a long weekend, but doesn't always work out. And especially when you have something like the cabinets, it's maybe something not that I'm going to do a lot of vlog episodes on, but it takes time and got to be done. So I don't know. I got plans for this week. I just don't know how much vlogging it'll be. That's a good reason to make a meatloaf. I love a meatloaf, and I've done a few of them recently. For vlogs. So that's meatloafs are great. Hard to go wrong with a meatloaf. I haven't weighed him lately, but he's probably about 18 pounds, 18 to 20 pounds. I think he eats more now that Nibble's gone, so he's probably gaining weight. And of course, he's an old man anyway, so he doesn't get a whole lot of exercise. Last time the vet saw Bite, though, he said he really wasn't concerned about him being a little overweight. So if he's happy and he's healthy, that's all that matters. Good exercise to bench press him anyway. Yeah, he's my buddy. Aren't you? Aren't you my buddy, huh? Like I said, I haven't weighed him recently, but last time I weighed him, he was about 18 pounds. He may be a little bit more than that now. Yeah, Bite just get cat food. I never trained them to come to the kitchen for food. A lot of times, human food is too rich for our pets anyway. Well, I mean, he's been at that age since he was 5 weeks old, John. I mean, he walks through there from time to time, but not very much, I don't think. When he comes out here, he'll walk around the couch. There's actually a like a throw rug in front of the front door, and he's been sleeping out in front of the front door lately instead of being in his room. Bite used to sleep on the couch here a lot. Doesn't I don't think he does that anymore. And you're right, he has a cat bed that he usually sleeps in when he's in his room. But like I said, it's not uncommon, especially at night, for him to come out here and sleep in front of the front door. So yeah, I guess he just likes a little change of scenery. I don't think there's a actually. I mean, I do need to replace the weather stripping, but I don't think that's the reason. I think it's just that he just likes a little change of scenery. Yeah, that's probably it, Gene. That must be it. He's guarding the house for me. The interview with Kara went up on Tuesday. It's up now because I shot it last Sunday right after the live stream. Yeah, it's called Gallery 11 Minerals and Jewelry. One of these days, I want to go visit that Skellington's Curiosities that's next door. That looks like a funky shop. I got to admit, when I first saw that store, I just said, "Oh, that's not a really nice store," but she fixed it up nice. Yeah, I mean, I had kind of fun doing that. It was just us kind of talking about what was going on. Like I said, Lucy is an interesting little mascot in the store because she's not a very affectionate dog. So it was really unusual for her to allow me to touch her the way she was. I think she's getting to the point she knows me a little bit because that just started a couple weeks ago that she let me touch her. Prior to that, if I reached out for her, she'd kind of back off. Yeah, I would guess that MeTV is a website somewhere. Maybe it's me.tv. Does Bite want a cat bed? I don't know. You got a cat bed, don't you? Yeah, don't want to get found out if they vaporize you. That's not good. That'll ruin your day. So I'm told. It's quite a transition going from the Waltons to an alien. That's how you know get a versatile actor, definitely. We haven't done a belly rub in a while, have we? Let's get your claw out of my shirt, though, dude. There we go. That's better. You big pudge ball. No, he always looks that way. Truth is, he's never been one that likes to be held. So this probably makes him a little mad. Eventually, he'll start getting restless. And but he's tolerating it right now because I'm scratching his belly. Problem is that's also makes the fur fly, right? Bite. Cat fur doesn't tickle your nose, does it? I'm definitely not into any of the new shows. I'm one of those old fogies that's kind of settled into the stuff he enjoyed when he was younger, living in the past. Yeah, Columbo wasn't really my thing. I was never that much into it. My dad used to watch, I think, Columbo a little bit. Yeah, I cut the cable too a couple years ago. I still have the cable coming into the house for internet, but not for TV. I just wasn't watching it, so why would I spend money on something I wasn't using? Didn't make any sense. I do have Netflix, and I've actually been watching Home Improvement lately. I think I'm probably almost to the end now. Yeah, don't even have an aerial on the roof. Like I said, it was never really that big a thing to me. If I actually needed something, I could find it online somewhere. I got two streaming services that are pay, and that's it. It's Netflix and Paramount Plus. And the Paramount Plus is because I'm such a Star Trek nerd. I don't have Disney. I don't want Disney. In fact, when I was working at Disney, I worked on what they called the Pixar Play Parade. It was based on all the Pixar movies. So I thought it was important that I familiarize myself with the stories of the movies. So I actually went and got all the movies so I could, like I said, be familiar with them. Prior to working at Disney, I'd only ever seen Toy Story. And like I said, once once I stopped working at Disney, I put all those away. I don't watch them anymore. The truth is, I mean, I was a huge fan of Captain Kirk. William Shatner as Captain Kirk when the series was out, even when they were having the movies like in the '80s. But once the next generation came along, I thought the sets looked really hokey. Yeah, I mean, you can really get everything you need through the internet. You don't need to have a cable TV. Oh yeah, and that first original episode, it was they called The Cage, I believe. It became a two-parter. All right, let's change positions here a little bit. Gets old after a while in the old position here. Yeah, and I kind of prefer, just have my own copies of things. So I have like, my DVD, Blu-ray collection, and the stuff that's important to me, I have there. Jeffrey Hunter. Okay, yeah, like I said, once the Next Generation came out, I didn't watch the original much anymore, and so I probably haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any of the original series since the Next Generation came out. Yeah, I think Captain Picard is a better actor. That was always something. Shatner, was uh, I don't know. I think a mediocre actor. Patrick Stewart is just. I think he's a better. Like I said, I just think he's a better actor. Yeah, that is true. It was the original series that made all the rest of it possible. So yeah, you got to respect it for that. I haven't really been watching a lot of the new Star Trek ones. I think the last Star Trek I was into was Star Trek Enterprise. And that's sort of my concern too, Yvonne, is that it becomes a little too woke. I think that's kind of what affects my interest in seeing a lot of new TV shows, new movies, that kind of stuff too. Is you're going to be feeding through, wading through all that stuff. See, they tried remaking that '70s show into that '90s show. I watched the first one of those, and it was horrible. You just can't remake that. I don't know. Do you think I should sit down and watch one episode of Starfleet Academy and see what I think? I mean, one of the new shows, I guess, has a female Jemadar, which goes against, the entirety of what DS9 was. I don't know. I guess I might be willing to dodge that bullet just to make an opinion. I probably wouldn't do a vlog on it, but all right, back into reclining position now. That gets old after a while. Now my eyes are just a little dry. I don't know. Sometimes after doing these live streams, though, I do take a little nap, so it could be that too. Yeah, I have eye drops too, and that sometimes helps. But then it'll look like I'm crying, and that's not the look I'm going for. Yeah, probably have a nap, just a short one. Can never complain about that, right? A lot of old people take naps. Okay, Yvonne is behind the times here, huh? So she's saying goodbye, but she's not going anywhere. Okay, yeah, we got another I don't know, 10 minutes or so to go. 12 minutes. I usually like to. What do I don't. I usually go. Start based on the clocks. So I usually want to start broadcasting before the grandfather clock chimes 11. I don't usually stop until after the cuckoo clock chimes at 1. So there you go. Pulling back the curtain here, letting you look at the man behind the curtain. Some little inside tip there. Well, I should have a pretty good weekend. It's my long weekend and I enjoy those. Yeah, I would be in bad shape if I couldn't walk. I love getting out and walking. Or maybe she's just working. I mean, she's been working a lot lately. I don't know. I haven't heard anything one way or another. She hasn't posted for a while on the Facebook page either. Well, that's sort of the main thing. You want to just get better and better. All right. Thanks for stopping in, Yvonne. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. I guess you're right. She did mention something about a knee operation, but it would seem possible because I think she just does this. She does live streams on an iPad, but she could maybe do that in the hospital too. So I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe she's just working. She's been working weekends a lot lately. But when they do pop up, it's usually the whole menagerie too. All right, we're moving into our final couple minutes here. So anybody else has anything to say, speak now or hold your peace for a week. It won't be forever because I'll be back next week, right? That's the plan. I think that means it's 1 o'clock. 1,300 hours for those of you in the military. Yeah, I did get a couple new rocks last week. They both kind of showed up in the video. One of them is actually the largest piece I've ever gotten, and it's about the size of a beach ball. That's what the cover photo is, um, but it's basically the size of a beach ball. Weighs 84 pounds, and I can actually show you what that looks like here. Hang on a second. That one. That's that's the piece I got there. In fact, I'm doing the same thing that Kara did because she didn't have that up on a shelf because it was too big. It was just sitting on the ground. But I thought it was a really, really beautiful piece. A lot of different, crystals and stuff like that. And in reality, I'm looking for something that's going to go well in the yard. And this will look great in the yard. I want to have some really kind of cool rocks in the backyard, in the planter area there. So look at all the different layers on that. Very pretty little rock. And then, and then I got this bad boy, and this one's really heavy. Not quite as heavy as the other one, but this one's also cool because it does great stuff under UV light. Of course, I love that. And that's short, long wave, and it's even better under the short wave light. So yeah, you know how much I like the UV rocks. So yeah, that one's good. This one probably only weighs about 15 pounds, but that's a cool rock. That one's not going in the yard though. So yeah, that's a nice one. And if you look closely at that one, there's little teeny tiny, like maybe quarter-inch long crystals, and they glow beautifully under the UV light. When Kara sold me this one, she said that this one probably has some uranium in it, which is why it glows like that. So that's always fun. A rock that's a little bit radioactive. Got a couple pieces that are supposedly mildly radioactive. So, that's cool. I got stuff that's radioactive. I got stuff that's poisonous. Well, it'll be in the backyard, John, not the front. But see, I was concerned, how would it hold up being outside? Because I've wanted to do something like with an amethyst cluster out in the backyard too, but Kara recommended against that because she said the sun would bleach out the purple, and I don't want to do that. But she said this would probably do really well in the backyard. So, right now it's sitting on the floor near the front door, but eventually that'll get moved into the backyard. It'll look really nice out there. So looking forward to that. Yeah, hopefully it won't come to that, Kathy. At some point, I need to, I want to move it into Bytes room, and that'll give me a lot of room to grow. And I'll still probably keep the stuff out here because, hey, why not, right? So, I got a lot of room to grow yet. Anyway, I think we've taken this one as far as we're going to go today. So I'm going to pull the plug on it. We'll catch up with you next weekend and continue at that point. So thanks, everyone. Had a good day. We'll see you next week. Good night.